Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Allahumma salli Muhammad wa ala ali Muhammad. With the Ramadan coming up, it reminded me of this time a while back, many years ago, when I went to iftar with a friend of mine at a restaurant. And they had a little flyer on the table that was for after the buffet. And it said, don't forget to enjoy the traditional shisha. Traditional shisha. I think they should have said habitual shisha. Because, it just struck me as so funny being in a Muslim country and the restaurants promoting shisha. Smoking is a problem for everybody. There's a lot of smokers left in the world. And we all know that it's not healthy, right? We really can't deny that it causes lung cancer and a whole host of diseases. And that's not really even what I want to talk about today. I just want to give some practical advice. If you happen to be smoking, I've got a practical advice to help you quit smoking. As a Muslim with Ramadan coming up, I think it'd be a great time right now to implement this so that God willing, inshallah, by the end of Ramadan, you don't smoke anymore. You've given up the nicotine. A little background on nicotine. What I was taught is that nicotine makes a great neurotransmitter, right? That's why it's so hard to quit, because our bodies use it. It's used as a signaling device between across the synapses of our nerves, right? Little gaps in between the nerves. Whatever it is that our body makes, the nicotine fits like the lock and key a little bit better than what our own body makes. And so that's why when you're trying to quit, you get a little bit of stress and you smoke a cigarette, chew tobacco, whatever it is, you intake nicotine and it calms you down. It's because your nerves have been calling for it, right? You're getting low on your levels of nicotine and your nerves are calling for it. Also, like myself, I would find I would be in a high stress situation and it did help. It actually helped quite a lot in high stress situations. And that's because it is a great neurotransmitter, but it's also very, very unhealthy. And so here's a method that I found very useful. First of all, ask our Creator, ask God Almighty Allah to help you and give you the strength needed to quit and to remove those whispers, because a lot of this I've discovered is, we have these our own, I guess you would call them personal demons, and they want you to keep smoking because they know it's bad for you. I remember this one time I was on my way to buy a pack of cigarettes and I determined to stop smoking, and it was almost like I could hear the little demons yell, no, because they were expecting me to fall for it again, to be weak and fall for their little whispers. And at that time I realized, what am I doing? And so I didn't go in and buy any. But I probably did the next day, right? Some sort of very stressful thing happened and I ended up going and giving in and buying them. What I found worked great for me because my nicotine levels were very high. I was smoking like 2 packs a day. I had quit when I became Muslim, but before I saw this sign about the shisha and I knew there was something wrong, the very first time I was introduced to shisha, I wasn't familiar with it, right? I didn't know anybody that smoked it when I was growing up. And I didn't know it was tobacco in there because it smelled like apples, right? And it tasted like apples, and I thought it was just some sort of I guess you might call it original vaping or something, right? I didn't know that it had tobacco in it, but it did. Naturally, I was re-addicted again, and I discovered this method that worked great for stopping. It's a combination of patches and gum. And I used enough patches to reach a level where I wasn't, every half hour, every 20 minutes, I didn't have to have that cigarette, right? The patches provided enough nicotine for that. And then I have, what they call breakthrough moments. So that's what the gum was for, right? You're driving around and somebody cuts you off, or, you get upset, or a high stress situation of any kind happens, chew a little bit of gum to get over that instead of smoking. And then every 4 days, take it down. Either go from a high level patch to a low level patch or remove a patch. They say that it takes 48 hours for our body to detox from the nicotine that we just took in right now. So I called it 72 hours just to be safe. And so every 4 days I dropped down a level. That way it was a very gradual weaning from the nicotine. Once I reached a point where all the patches were gone, then I used gum for a little while, and I would cut the pieces of gum smaller and smaller each day until I reached a point where I figured, there's so little nicotine, we'll just stop. And I found that to be a much easier way to do it. There's a lot less stress. And if you're serious about quitting, I highly suggest you try this method because it worked great for me. And there's other people I know that it worked for also. But either way, let's try and make this the best Ramadan that we've had. Let's try and become as close as we can to our Creator, Almighty Allah. And let's not forget that there is one night coming up soon where more people are rescued from hellfire than any other night of the year. So whatever we can do to get ourselves closer to our Creator, we want to do. If you're smoking, I highly suggest that you start this now, and as a method to hopefully bring you closer to the Creator so that you also are rescued from the hellfire. May Allah rescue all of us from the hellfire. Thanks for listening. Have a great day.